Hello and welcome to the G3 Pulse podcast. My guest today is Noah Akers of Akers Manufacturing. Noah, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks, Lewis. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. It's been around 5 months since you were last on the podcast here, and I know you've been busy in the meantime. One of the big things that you've launched since we last spoke was you introduced a new app, the Cashless Casino, and I believe it enables casino operators to quickly implement cashless gaming technology. I just wanted, could you bring us up to speed about that? Because we've not really discussed it. We ran the press release and things, but I just wanted to know from your side why this was so important to do that in this period before we hit G2E.
Yeah, so we have an application called Cashless Casino, and really what it does is it allows any operator, no matter size or location or any kind of specifics regarding their system or technological setup in the casino, we can get any operator cashless within about 15 weeks.
Okay.
And so what we've done with Cashless Casino is we've gone through and we've taken out all the difficult steps, right? So we've addressed all the regulatory issues. We've addressed all the compatibility issues with the legacy system providers. We're compatible with basically any payment processor. So really, it's just a really easy way for casinos to get cashless with the best of breed solution and to do it very, very fast.
I noticed that you made the commitment to the implementation time of 15 weeks. Why was it important to hit that as a number? And what's been the thing about the timing and getting obviously operators up and running?
Yeah, well, the 15 weeks is just basically our lead time, and we're just showing that we have the ability to deliver very quickly. I think that's something that's not really in place in the industry today. Is different companies fight with part shortages and component shortages and things like that. So we're just ready to roll. We've completed the solution. It's very, very simple to install and to configure and operate, so we can get it going.
So what's slowing down the adoption of cashless? Obviously, we're talking about the United States right now, but is there a particular impediment, and how's Foundation and what you're doing kind of hurtling over that?
Yeah, well, there's a few roadblocks I think right now to going cashless. First, it's not really widespread yet, so a lot of people like to wait until they see it out. Maybe they want to see a competitor doing it or somebody in their local jurisdiction doing it before they implement cashless, and so you just have that base kind of ramp up time. But beyond that, I think that the big issue is that we're forcing change. Right, we're forcing change in the way casinos operate because historically, casinos hook up to what's called a casino management system, and that casino management system essentially monopolizes the access to the slot machines for things like cashless and bonusing and data. And so what that causes is it causes the casinos to look to that vendor exclusively for any type of technology. And that really puts the casino in a disadvantaged position because now they're being forced to take really bad products and they're forced to pay a really high price for them. And on top of that, the casino management systems, they can't physically do cashless right now. So they're a year or more away from being able to implement cashless. And so all of that just causes a lot of confusion in the marketplace. And that's why really we came out with Cashless Casino to show leadership and to show that it's very easy no matter what type of casino management system you have. If you install Foundation, you can run cashless through Foundation, and it will be the best cashless product in the industry.
Okay. Speaking of new products and what you have kind of lined up coming up, we're a couple of weeks out now, about 5 weeks out from G2E when this podcast will go out. What have you got in store for visitors, and what are the new product presentations you're planning on the Akers booth?
Yeah, I think that really we're focused on showing how we can blend cashless with data and bonusing to provide a complete player experience. And I think that when you look at cashless implementations, the way that maybe others contemplate it, they're only looking at moving money from a player account to the game. And
Okay.
I don't think personally that that will be widely adapted by the players unless you bring more benefits to the table, right? And by that,
Okay.
I mean the players want to see their points and they want to see their free play. They want to see those things accruing in real time. They want to have the ability to redeem those. They want to do bonusing. And if you're doing cashless over a mobile app, they want all of those components to be part of the mobile experience. And so at G2E, we're going to feature a couple pretty cool things integrated with our cashless. So you'll have point accrual in real time. So you'll be seeing on the app your points jump up as you play. We'll have a
Okay.
bonus called Tap and Win that's uh, uh, unlocked by your play when you play cashless. And then we actually have a bonus built into that where we call it double jackpot time. And what happens
Okay.
is the player earns the right to double all pays on a slot machine. And it's like an unlock button on their app for double jackpot time. When they push that button for 30 seconds or so, all the pays on the slot machine will be doubled for that player. And so that's something that your player can earn through, maybe it's points, maybe it's a win loss amount, but whatever it is, the casino can implement whatever the trigger is. And the players are really going to like getting double jackpot time because that just increases their chances of winning, and it's really fun. And so we're really excited to show Tap and Win and double jackpot time at G2E.
So when you're producing, I mean, kind of going behind the curtain of a kind of a tech company like yourselves, when you're actually about to roll out these products, do you hold things back for G2E, or are you already kind of implementing things and explaining things to operators about what's coming, or you kind of like get them on the booth and surprise them? How do you play the kind of exhibition side of things?
Yeah, so really it's a little bit of both, right? So
Right.
so our as a company, we're a smaller company, and we're very innovative. So it's very easy for us to go from concept to deployment in a short period of time. I think that other companies that have kind of more bureaucracy or whatever to them,
Yeah.
it takes a lot longer. And so you're seeing maybe products at G2E that won't be out for a year or two even. And so for
Okay.
us, everything that we're showing is going to be deployable at the latest, the early part of 2023.
So since we last spoke, 5 months back, what's been the progress on Foundation itself, in terms of the rollout and installs? What have you been seeing, since I guess this year particularly was going to be, kind of, has it met your expectations? Are we where you plan to be as well?
Yeah, I don't really know if I could say it met my expectations or didn't meet my expectations. I think that in general, the casino industry is very tough to crack from a technology angle because you have legacy suppliers and you have a really
Yeah.
high degree of regulation, and that makes operators slow to act sometimes. I
Okay.
think that over the last part of this year and into next year, you're going to start seeing a very rapid deployment to cashless. And I think that 2023 is going to be a very big year for casinos converting to cashless. There's an interesting parallel that I read about NFL stadiums here in the US. So I think
Okay.
in 2019, first part of 2019, the very first stadium went cashless. I think it was the Atlanta Falcons stadium in Atlanta, Georgia. By the kickoff of last year's NFL season, the 2021 NFL season, all but one team had a completely cashless stadium. So, from the first adopter to 29 out of 30 was only 2 years, and I think that you're going to see really the same thing with casinos. As soon as those dominoes start to fall, they're going to fall very quickly.
And do you think there's a kind of is there a leading product out there that, from your perspective, that once everyone's established it and once people understand that cashless is the catalyst for Foundation, and you can do all these other things as well, is that the kind of
Yep.
tipping point of it when you start to get the kind of domino effect of the adoption through cashless and then all the other things that come in behind it?
Yeah, really. I mean, so Foundation is a great system for processing a massive amount of real time data, interfacing that data to outside sources. It's great for bonusing. Cashless, like you said, is kind of the foot in the door for us. So we need to get
Yeah.
this footprint out there to distribute our applications and build our business. And what we're seeing right now with cashless is a forced replacement cycle, because right
Okay.
now all of the system vendors that are doing cashless, they're requiring the casinos to do some type of hardware upgrade to go cashless. So every
Okay.
slot machine or table game that's going to do cashless requires new hardware. and we just happen to have the best hardware at the best price point, and the only one that's available right now. So I think that we're in a really advantaged situation.
Okay. We're looking at from this side of the pond about the kind of U.S. casinos surging at the moment, and they're doing extremely well. Do you have have you still put into the plan anything about international aspirations for Foundation over here, but also Asian markets, Latin markets, or that kind of thing, or is all the capacity being taken up by what we're seeing from the US side at the moment in terms of that adoption? Do you need a foundation for foundation? Do you need to actually build a platform in which you can then sell from as well?
Yeah, I think that in terms of international, we have a couple projects online right now in Asia,
Okay.
a couple in Asia, and one in Europe right now. Um, to be clear, like it's the regulatory issue that's the most burdensome. So the technology, of
Okay.
course, works anywhere, but how do the regulators feel about new vendors? How do they feel about cashless? How do they feel about interfacing data? That's kind of the wild card. And when you go to different parts of the world, they have different rules. And
Yeah.
so, in fact, we have that same issue here in the U.S. because we have all these different states and tribes that are their own jurisdictions, and so it's quite a lot of work for us and
Okay.
anybody in the space to go through and get regulatory approvals in every jurisdiction. So we've certainly prioritized the U.S. because that's kind of like the leading market for casinos and slot machines, at least.
Yeah.
But we definitely have interested customers from around the world that we're working with. But we know a lot more about the U.S. regs than the foreign regs.
So, and is the limiting factor, Noah, regulation, or is it availability of tech? At the moment, we're still hearing about all kinds of tech problems and getting shortages of things, or is it people who are skilled, the programmers, the technology guys behind it who are actually creating this? Or is it the kind of the part of that the legacy install base that's out there in terms of the systems? What's limiting the growth and potential at the moment?
Well, I don't really think that there's anything limiting the growth and potential. I think that look, we just launched Foundation barely a year ago,
Yeah.
and we're already installed in close to 30,000 slot machines. We're already certainly the market leader in providing cashless gaming. We have the
Okay.
best cashless experience. We have the best data experience. So I think that when you look at it as far as a systems product goes, I doubt that I'm not a record keeper, but I doubt that there's been a systems product that's ever had a first year success to the level of what Foundation has had.
Yeah.
And so we're very proud of that, and we hope to continue growing, and we fully expect to continue growing. I think that, like I said, 2023 is going to be a very big year. The U.S. market is somewhere between 800,000 and a million or so slot machines, and I think
Yeah.
that ultimately you're going to see Foundation on probably at least half of those because the value proposition is just so great. Casinos need data on their players. They need to do cashless. Uh, that's what consumers are demanding. And one thing that strikes me is that, especially in the U.S., casinos are always saying, "Well, why is our player base aging? Like, why is our demographic getting so old? Why can't we attract younger players?" Well, one of the primary reasons is because we don't market to them or speak to them in the same way that, like, Amazon or Netflix or Google does, because those companies are using real time data to personalize an offer to you, to correlate your payments with your other experiences, and casinos can't do that today because they don't have the technology to do so.
Yeah.
Foundation brings that ability, and I think that that's really, if you want to compete in the future and you want to generate, you want to attract younger players, you have to implement cashless and you have to implement some kind of big data platform like Foundation.
Yeah. Again, completely sold down that kind of the messaging as well, Noah. Looking forward to that kind of next step that the casinos are taking that actually get them along that journey. I think cashless is the catalyst, but I think what you're actually unlocking will actually be far greater than that as well. I think it's the foot in the door, but yeah, what they'll be able to use with the data will actually change the way that they actually interact with the customer at the same time.
Yeah, yeah. One thing I'll just tell you that we're doing at G2E as well is we're showing our optimal poker analyzer, and that's a
Okay.
really good example of how we're using big data, right? So the player, we're able to measure their actual decision making in a video poker hand. And so
Okay.
you're dealt 5 cards. We mathematically instantly recognize the optimal mathematical solution to any 5 card combination that's dealt on any video poker game. And so when you make a decision that's different from the optimal decision,
Right.
we actually assign a dollar value to that. And so the casinos can identify who's an advantage player and how much margin everybody else has based upon their own like sort of play strategy. And so
Okay.
you can go into this tool and you can look up everybody's history and see what their specific hand was, how much extra, theoretical profit margin you generated off of them. And so that's just an example. So Foundation's really delivering big data personalized to every single player to help casinos market to them specifically in the way that player needs to improve their loyalty and their spend. And so it's a tremendous tool. I think that, like you said, the race is for cashless. That's what everybody wants to do
Yeah.
right now. I think there's universal recognition that we probably have to be cashless within 3 years. But
Okay.
that big data stuff behind it to optimize player reinvestment and stop reinvesting on players who don't spend, that's the ability that Foundation delivers like no other product in the industry. And that's going to be the long-term benefit that casinos are going to get.
Very cool. Well, it's been 3 years since I've been to G2E. I'm looking forward to running through all the products with you and meeting you for the first time properly. We've been doing podcasts and
Yeah.
interviews throughout all this kind of pandemic-y period, but actually getting hands-on is going to be great. And looking forward to my kind of 20th visit to Vegas and to seeing the G2E and meeting you in person, but also then actually running it through all the products that you've shown me by video conferences and over actually looking at them in the flesh is going to be brilliant. So looking forward to that, Noah. Thank you for taking part in the podcast again and for running through all the latest developments for Makers Manufacturing.
Great. Well, thanks a lot, Lewis. And I'm really looking forward to G2E and looking forward to meeting you there.
Me too. See you soon.
All right. See you.